In January 1943, a maid opened the door of room 3327 at the Hotel New Yorker. Inside, she found an old man, alone, dead for at least 2 days. He had once lit an entire World's Fair with electricity. He had once shaken the hand of Mark Twain and dined with financiers who controlled half the wealth in America. Now he owed the hotel money, and his only companions were the pigeons he fed from his window. His name was Nikola Tesla, and by the time he died, most of the world had already forgotten what he gave it. This is strange, because Tesla did not fail quietly. He built one of the most important inventions of the modern age, lost a fortune because of it, rebuilt his name from almost nothing, and then lost everything a second time chasing a dream that was, perhaps, simply too far ahead of its era. To understand how a man could fall twice from such heights, you have to go back to where his ambition first collided with the world's stubborn refusal to believe him. Tesla was born in 1856 in a small village that is now part of Croatia, the son of a Serbian Orthodox priest. As a young man, he studied engineering in Graz, Austria, and later in Prague, though he never completed a formal degree. What he did have, according to his own later accounts and the observations of colleagues, was an unusual gift. He could picture complex machines in his mind, fully formed, and test them mentally before ever building a model. In 1882, while walking in a park in Budapest, he reportedly visualized the design for a motor that used alternating current, or AC, a form of electricity that reverses direction many times per second. This idea would define the rest of his life. At the time, the dominant form of electrical power was direct current, or DC, championed by one of the most famous inventors in America, Thomas Edison. In 1884, Tesla arrived in New York with little more than 4 cents in his pocket and a letter of introduction to Edison himself. He went to work for Edison's company, and by most accounts, he impressed his employer with his skill. But the two men saw electricity's future very differently. Edison believed in DC. Tesla believed AC was more efficient, cheaper to transmit over long distances, and simply better. Here is where the story's first documented conflict enters, one that biographers and historians have examined carefully, even if some details remain debated. Tesla later claimed that Edison promised him $50,000 if he could redesign and improve Edison's inefficient DC generators. Tesla did the work. When he asked for payment, Edison allegedly replied that Tesla did not understand American humor. Whether or not the exact exchange happened precisely this way, what is well documented is this: Tesla resigned soon afterward, and within a year, he was reduced to digging ditches for $2 a day just to survive. A man capable of imagining machines that did not yet exist was now shoveling dirt in New York City. That was the first time Tesla lost everything. Before we go further, it is worth pausing on that image, a man who once redesigned the future now moving dirt with a shovel. Keep it in mind, because his story is about to turn twice more, and neither turn is what you might expect. He did not stay there long. In 1887, Tesla found investors willing to fund his own laboratory, and he filed a series of patents for AC motors and power systems. These patents caught the attention of George Westinghouse, an industrialist and inventor who was building a competing electrical company. In 1888, Westinghouse purchased Tesla's AC patents for a substantial sum, and for a brief, extraordinary period, it looked as though Tesla's vision would win. Then Edison fought back, and the conflict that followed became known as the War of Currents. Edison's company ran a public campaign to convince Americans that alternating current was dangerous. He funded demonstrations in which animals were killed using AC electricity, hoping to frighten the public into rejecting Westinghouse's system. The campaign grew darker still when AC current was used, controversially, in the first electric chair executions, a fact Edison's side promoted to link alternating current with death itself in the public imagination. It was a brutal business rivalry, fought not just with patents and lawsuits but with fear. Despite this, evidence in AC's favor kept accumulating, because the physics simply worked in its favor over long distances. The turning point came in 1893, when Westinghouse and Tesla won the contract to illuminate the world's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. Nearly 100,000 light bulbs powered by alternating current turned the fairgrounds into what visitors described as a glowing dream, something unlike anything they had seen before. Millions of people walked through it. 2 years later, Tesla's AC system was chosen to harness the power of Niagara Falls itself, sending electricity to the city of Buffalo, New York, 26 miles away. This was proof, undeniable and public, that Tesla had been right. Alternating current became, and remains today, the standard for electrical power distribution around the world. For a moment, it seemed Tesla had won everything back, and more. He was famous. He gave lectures that drew huge crowds. He became friends with writers and industrialists. But money and recognition did not satisfy him the way one particular obsession did, the idea of transmitting not just information, but electrical power itself, wirelessly, through the earth and the air, to any point on the globe. By 1900, Tesla had convinced the powerful banker J.P. Morgan to invest a significant sum, around $150,000, into a new project on Long Island, New York. This became Wardenclyffe Tower, an enormous structure nearly 200 feet tall, topped with a massive dome. Tesla's public explanation to Morgan focused on wireless communication, competing with the wireless telegraph systems then being developed by Guglielmo Marconi. Privately, though, Tesla's true ambition was far larger. He believed the tower could send electrical power itself through the ground, making cables and wires unnecessary, delivering nearly free electricity to the entire world. If you want a clear picture of just how radical this vision was, imagine every home on Earth pulling electricity from thin air, with no wires connecting it to a power plant at all. That was the world Tesla believed he could build. It is worth sitting with that idea for a moment, because understanding what he was reaching for makes what happened next even harder to watch unfold. In December 1901, Marconi succeeded in sending a wireless signal across the Atlantic Ocean, a historic first, using a much simpler and cheaper system than Tesla's tower. Morgan, who had already grown uneasy about the enormous cost and uncertain payoff of Wardenclyffe, saw Marconi's success as proof that Tesla's grand and expensive vision was unnecessary. He refused to invest further. Tesla wrote to him repeatedly, pleading for more funds, revealing more of his ambitious wireless power plans in hopes of reigniting interest. Morgan did not respond. Without new money, construction stopped. Tesla was left with an unfinished tower, mounting debts, and a project the world no longer believed in. It is worth staying with him here for a moment, at the lowest point, before the story moves on, because what he does next says as much about him as anything he ever built. The years that followed were quiet in a way that felt almost cruel for a man who had once electrified a World's Fair. Tesla struggled to fund new projects. He moved between hotels in New York, sometimes unable to pay his bills, occasionally being asked to leave when the debt grew too large. In 1917, desperate for cash and unable to maintain the property, the operators of Wardenclyffe had the tower demolished and sold for scrap metal, worth only a fraction of what it cost to build. The symbol of Tesla's grandest dream was reduced to raw material, sold for pennies on the dollar. That was the second time Tesla lost everything. What makes this loss different from the first is that Tesla never fully recovered from it, at least not financially. He continued working, continued filing patents, continued giving occasional interviews in which he described inventions that sounded almost like science fiction: death rays, mechanical oscillators, wireless energy for the whole planet. Some of these ideas were exaggerations from an aging inventor eager to stay relevant. Others, historians now recognize, contain genuinely forward-thinking engineering concepts, decades ahead of the technology needed to realize them. Separating fact from self-promotion in Tesla's later claims remains a genuine challenge for historians, and caution is warranted with his own later statements about his work. If you have ever wondered why some of history's most important inventors die without recognition while others become household names, Tesla's story offers one uncomfortable answer: being right is not the same as being believed at the right moment, by the right people, with enough money behind you. By the 1930s and into the 1940s, Tesla lived mostly alone, in a series of New York hotel rooms, his behavior increasingly eccentric. He developed an intense attachment to pigeons in city parks, feeding them daily and, according to those who knew him, forming what he considered genuine emotional bonds with certain birds. He rarely accepted visitors. He continued, until nearly the end, to write letters proposing new inventions to anyone who might listen, though few did. On January 7, 1943, Tesla died alone in his hotel room. He was 86 years old. When federal agents, acting out of wartime concern that his unpublished research might have military value, went through his belongings afterward, they found notebooks, models, and papers documenting a lifetime of ideas, some brilliant, some incomplete, some perhaps unworkable. The full scope of what he left behind took decades for historians and engineers to properly evaluate. It would be easy to end this story there, with a lonely death and a demolished tower, and call it a tragedy. But that is not where Tesla's story actually ends, because ideas, unlike buildings, cannot always be sold for scrap. Today, every time alternating current flows into a home or business anywhere on Earth, it carries forward the argument Tesla won against Edison more than a century ago. In 1960, the international scientific community named the unit of magnetic flux density the Tesla, a small but permanent acknowledgement written into the language of physics itself. Engineers studying wireless charging, a technology now common in phones and electric vehicles, still reference concepts Tesla explored, however imperfectly, at Wardenclyffe. The gap between his failed tower and today's wireless technology is not proof that he was wrong. It may simply be proof that he arrived before the rest of the world had the tools to follow him. So return, for a moment, to that hotel room in January 1943. An old man, forgotten by most of the public, dead among his notebooks and his memories of pigeons. It is tempting to see only the loss in that image, the two fortunes gone, the tower turned to scrap, the fame that faded into obscurity. But look again, and something else becomes visible. The electricity powering the light above that hotel room bed was his. The current running through the city outside his window, through the entire distribution grid of nearly every modern nation, still carries his answer to a question almost nobody else believed was worth asking in 1888. Tesla lost his money twice. He never lost the argument. If stories like this one make you want to keep exploring the strange, human side of history, there is always more to discover, one life, one idea, one turning point at a time.